Buddy. I hope that you're well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade a grade 8 English lesson on vague pronoun references. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of vague pronoun references. All right, so our chapter is vague pronoun references. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of vague pronoun reference is to identify vague pronoun references, and we're going to identify all the possible antecedents. All right. So when it comes to vague pronoun references, the word already vague, right? It gives us the indication that it's almost like you're using words that are mm, it's like it's you're using words that are that doesn't make sense, or that's in line with the content, context of the sentence, right? Um, or not necessarily doesn't make sense. It's just that you're using a word, and we need to try and figure out what you're actually saying, or who you actually basically trying to talk about. So when you're writing, you need to make sure that you avoid vague pronoun references. It's like where one pronoun can refer to more than one, maybe antecedent, or more than one person, or more than one thing, right? You're not being specific. And like we say, a vague pronoun reference, it occurs when a pronoun could refer to more than one possible antecedent. It refers to more than one possible antecedent. And if we look at an example, right, of how we can identify vague pronoun references, then it says, when Lisa and Kim finally landed, she breathed a sigh of relief. So it says, when Lisa, right, and Kim, it's two people. When Lisa and Kim finally landed, she, which is the pronoun, breathe a sigh of relief. But now, if we look at this pronoun she, now the question is, who breathe a sigh of relief? Is it Lisa or is it Kim? So basically, this sentence alone is a vague pronoun reference because we don't know who it referring to, which means that the sentence is unclear. Because it says both Lisa and Kim finally landed, but now they're saying she breathed a sigh of relief. She can either refer to Lisa or she can refer to Kim. So which means that the sentence is unclear. And yet it says the pronoun she could either refer to Lisa, as I mentioned, or it could refer to Kim, which means that this is unclear. The meaning of the sentence is unclear because we don't know what it refers to. And we can basically correct vague pronoun references, right, in two ways. We can correct it the first way in which we can correct it is by replacing that pronoun, which is she, with its correct antecedent, And an example of that is by saying, when Lisa and Kim finally landed, Lisa. So now we are replacing the pronoun, right, with the correct antecedent. So we say, when Lisa and Kim finally landed, Lisa breathed a sigh of relief, because now we are basically saying who breathed a sigh of relief. Another way in which we can correct um, the vague pronoun reference is by rewriting the sentence. And if we rewrite that sentence, it says, Lisa breathed a sigh of relief when she and Kim finally landed. So basically, we say Lisa was the one that breathed a sigh of relief when she and Kim finally landed. Right? So we basically need to avoid vague pronoun references. We need to avoid sentences that are unclear, right? So when you're writing, try to avoid sentences that are unclear. So we need to make sure that we avoid those type of sentences. All right. And when it comes also to vague pronoun references, it occurs when words like they or them or their, theirs, it or its is used without an antecedent. And if you look at an example, then it says, they say that this nail polish dries in less than 5 minutes. They say. So now the question is, who is they? So instead of saying they, it okay, not instead of saying they, but it is basically unclear because now the question is who says that nail polish dries um in less than 5 minutes? Is it the manufacturing companies? Is it the retail stores? Is it somebody else? Is it the person? Is it your mom? Is it your friend that says that nail polish dries in less than 5 minutes? So, which means that that sentence does not have an antecedent. So, the sentence is basically unclear. And if we look at that sentence, right, then it means that we can fix that unclear sentence. And that problem or that sentence can be fixed by replacing the pronoun with its missing antecedent. For example, and if we correct it, then we can say that the advertisers, say that this nail polish dries in less than 5 minutes. So the advertisers, that is not an antecedent. Now it is clear because now it's basically telling you who said that this nail polish dries in 5 minutes. So the advertisers says that this nail polish dries in less than 5 minutes. Right? All right, so now we're going to a+students.ca and we are going to identify vague pronoun references as well as possible antecedents. And once again, we say that when you're writing, you need to make sure to avoid pronoun references. And a vague pronoun reference, it can occur when a pronoun could refer to more than one possible antecedent. right? All right, so now we're going to identify vague pronoun references. We now need to say which of the following contains a vague pronoun reference. It says, I'm going to underline both. I'm going to use different colors. It says Josh showed the customer service representative the error on his receipt and he received a refund. So we need to say which one shows the vague pronoun reference. That is actually okay. They're only giving us one answer, so they're not giving us more than one in order for us to identify. All right, so let's go to our test where we're going to identify vague pronoun references. Remember, we said a vague pronoun reference is when a sentence is unclear, where a pronoun can refer to more than one possible antecedent, or there's no antecedent at all, and that basically makes a sentence unclear. So we need to identify, or we need to say which of the following is a vague pronoun reference. Is it option one? They say that diesel cars have better fuel economy than cars powered by gasoline? Or do we say experts say option two, diesel cars have better fuel economy than cars powered by gasoline? We need to choose the correct option, option one or option two. And if we were to choose the correct option, the one that identifies as a vague pronoun reference or that contains vague pronoun reference, then we will choose option one. Because instead of saying who says so, they're saying they. Who is they? Right? They're not being specific. They're just saying they say. Which of the following contains a vague pronoun reference? It says when Jake tackled Tim during the football game, his arm was injured. Or option two, when Jake tackled Tim during the football game, Tim's arm was injured. We need to identify the vague pronoun reference within that sentence. And if we were to identify the vague pronoun reference, then we can say when Jake tackled Tim. Option one, his arm was injured. That is not being clear. The next one says, which of the following contains a vague pronoun reference? Option one that says the protesters want them to raise salaries and increase employment benefits. Or option two, the protesters want the company's executives to raise salaries and increase employment benefits. We need to identify the vague pronoun reference within the sentence. And if we were to identify the vague pronoun reference, then we can say the protesters option one wants them to raise salaries and increase employment benefits. They're not saying who them are. They're just saying them. Them can refer to anyone. All right. The next one says, which of the following contains a vague pronoun reference? It says, after Mr. Ellison finished performing with Mr. Watson, Maria went up and thanked him. Or option two, after Mr. Ellison finished performing with Mr. Watson, Maria went up and thanked Mr. Ellison. And if we were to choose the correct option, that contains a vague pronoun reference that shows that it is not clear. We're going to choose option one. After Mr. Ellison finished performing with Mr. Watson, Maria went up and thanked him. That could refer to Mr. Ellison or it could refer to Mr. Watson. So it is not clear. All right, the next one says, which of the following contains a vague pronoun reference? The airline lost Lisa's baggage when she flew to Hawaii with her sister last month. Or option two, the airline lost Lisa's baggage when she flew to Hawaii last month. And we're going to choose the correct option. Oh, so it's actually the first one, not the second one. When she flew with her sister to Hawaii. All right, so now we're going to identify all the possible antecedents. And remember, we said that an antecedent is the noun or the noun phrase that the pronoun refers to. So, pronoun takes the place of the noun, and then that noun or noun phrase that the pronoun refers to is the antecedent. All right. So now we're going to identify all the possible antecedents, right? And remember that is the noun or the noun phrase that the pronoun refers to. We need to select the correct antecedent of the vague pronoun in the sentence. It says Steve signed up for the turkey trot with his brother and was surprised when he came in first. So we need to identify the antecedent. Is it he or is it Steve? And if we were to choose the correct antecedent of the vague pronoun reference, then Steve is our antecedent. It says Rebecca made mint chocolate chip ice cream with her sister, even though she generally prefers fruit flavored sorbet. We need to select the correct antecedent of the vague pronoun reference, the word that the pronoun refers to. Is it Rebecca or is it she? And if we were to choose the correct antecedent, then we will choose Rebecca because she refers to Rebecca. So Rebecca is our antecedent. In the late 1800s, Nellie Bly was known for her newspaper reports about the poor working conditions women faced. So we need to select the correct antecedent of the vague pronoun within the sentence. Is it her or Nellie Bly? And if we were to choose the antecedent, the Nellie Bly is our antecedent. Remember, the antecedent is the noun or the noun phrase that the pronoun refers to. It says, have you ever played with a Rubik's Cube? It is a 3D puzzle invented by Ern Rubik in 1974. We need to identify the antecedent of the vague pronoun reference. Is it or Rubik's Cube? And if you were to choose the correct option, then Rubik's Cube. That is our antecedent. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on vague pronoun references. We said a vague pronoun reference is when your pronoun could refer to more than one possible antecedent, right? And then basically the sentence is unclear. And there are different ways, two ways in which um, we can correct the vague pronoun reference. We can either rewrite the sentence or we can basically just um, replace the pronoun with its correct antecedent, right? So this is now the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining, and I really hope that you're going to have a good evening further. So till next time, goodbye.